Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Robbins Racing channel. Sorry for the breakup, sorry for the technical difficulties that we've had in the past hour or so, but it looks like we're back here for the qualifying for our feature race here this evening of round one of the season. Currently riding with our reigning champion here, Demobi. He's first out of the pits here for this feature race qualifying session. Demobi is our Bavarian from Germany. He's a handball player. In his spare time, he loves project cars too. His favourite is his wheel, is the T500 RS, which is one of the probably the most in-depth sim racing wheels out there. Obviously he's our reigning champion of the touring car division here at Robbins Racing. Also races in our GT3 championship as well. It's great to have him out on the track. His favourite track is the Red Bull Ring, and he's always likes to race like a gentleman. He's very, very clean, very fair racer. He's just coming into turn one now. We'll keep an eye on him and see how he develops in this session. One of our new guys to the league, the only G, looks like he's driving in he's actually driving the Monster Energy livery. Just like he's on the exit of the pit lane now. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the only G and see how he gets on here. He's obviously promoted from the Clio Cup League, so it's be great to see how he gets on here in this one. Evan, also one of our newcomers to the touring car division, is driving the BMW by the looks of it, so it's not going to be easy for him, especially in a field full of Megans, and I believe a Mercedes somewhere out there as well. So let's see how it goes. I mean, it's a bold choice though from Evan, our Irishman, relatively new to Robbins Racing. He's 23 years old, as he's a banger racer or demolition derby driver. He's based in the south of Ireland. He's he's been racing with us for a little while now. His favourite cars are GT3, V8 supercars and NASCAR, but he's giving it a go in the touring cars here this evening. Thorsten Schmidt is currently going around the final section of the lap now, driving in the Argentina livery, the Renault Megane. Drove in the BMW last season. It didn't quite work out. He's a guy with lots and lots of pace, but he wasn't able to showcase the full extent of his talents due to being in a slower car than the other guys. He's coming out at the last turn, and he's going to, I think this is to start a lap. No, it's not. It's a full lap time, so it's a 129.6 for Thorsten. Demobi currently sitting atop of the pile with a 129.1. We saw in practice there were a few 28 deads, and we've seen 127's being done as well. So the lap times here, the caliber of these guys, absolutely off the scale. These guys, some of the best touring car racers that you will find on the PlayStation 4 platform here on Project Cars 2. Demobi's gone, as we see Thorsten there getting loose, so we've got a yellow flag there coming through the first sector. Thorsten's lost the car, looks like he's got it going again. Stealth Sheep currently sat P4 in this session. Jeff is our 36-year-old from Lichfield in Staffordshire. He works he's a construction manager, and he fell in love with racing back with the Grand Prix game, which was released quite a few years ago now, and it's been hooked ever since. Currently running in P4, was always running near the front in last season's Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship. Looks like he's 3/10 of the pace at the moment, but let's keep an eye on him, see how he gets on. Grandad Steve's currently running in P3. He had a not so great season last season. We know he's got lots of pace in these touring cars. He's got a bit of traffic here in front of him. That might be the only G there, just in front of him. I know that is his livery. Yes, it is. It is the only G. So looks like both of these guys on hot laps. So they're going to have to figure it out amongst themselves to see how they get on here. Console's currently P6. Looks like he's abandoned that attempt coming out the corkscrew. Currently P6 in this session. Where is Uniclark? Uniclark is our dark horse in the Mercedes then. Currently P8 in this session. He's a few seconds off the pace. I think that was an outlap, so let's see what Uniclark does here, because we haven't got anybody else in the field in the Mercedes except Uniclark, so it'll be fascinating to see how this one goes. It's sort of in the middle between the BMW and the Renault through the corners, and it's sort of in the middle in terms of straight line speed and actual power, so it's kind of a jack of all trades but a master of how many we'll have to wait and see in this case. But Uniclark's coming round just through turn 4 at the moment, so it looks like he's got it quite tidy through there. So Uniclark, dark horse in the Mercedes, as I said. HJM Elite is one of our new drivers here to Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship, driving the Mild 7 livery. Looks like he's taken that one off of that guitar dude this year, and he's just going under the Cooper Tyres bridge now, and he's currently sat P13 in this session, but we saw him take second in the qualifying session for the sprint race. I'll have to get word on what the actual results from the sprint race were, because we had some technical difficulties, and unfortunately we missed the sprint race here at RRTV, so we'll have to get word on that and figure out exactly what was the situation in that one. But guys, I want to say a big thank you to everyone for sticking with us on the channel and for coming back on this new stream. Obviously we had a few issues with the stream earlier on, but it looks like we're all back on air now and we're all sorted out, which is great news. We're delighted to bring you the action here from Laguna Seca for round 1 of Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship here, season 2 of 2020. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating season. Currently sitting at the top of the leaderboard is Stealth Sheep. He's done a 128.6, just a tenth of a second ahead of Grandad Stee and Lecky, and then another 2/10 to Smithy. Lactard within half a second in 5th place. In fact, just 9/10 of a second separating the top 7, and we've got rain, so this is going to spice things up. But possibly the lap times are not going to get any better now unless anyone's right towards the end of a lap. Let's see if anyone's coming through the final sector now. It looks like Smithy has got one corner to go. Maybe he won't be as compromised as the rest of them. Here he comes. He's going to throw it in. He gets a little bit of a compromised exit on the exit of the final corner now. Smithy is going to come over the line. Currently sat P4 in this session. What's it going to be for Smithy? It's a slight improvement, but it's not enough. He still stays P4. He's just 2/10 of a second off of pole position, and his next lap's not going to be an improvement because the standing water you can see coming down the hill is absolutely treacherous. This is it now, guys. The lap times are pretty much going to just stay as they are for the rest of this session. So it looks like Stealth Sheep's going to be on pole, Grandad Stee second, Lecky's going to line up on the second row behind him with Smithy, and HJM, Nakatadu, Damobi in 7. Looks like Damobi's had it off. Oh guys, be careful, there's a yellow flag just through the corkscrew there. Damobi's gone straight on. Looks like his accelerator pedal was flat to the boards. The console is in P8 at the moment, and he's coming around. It looks like he's not going to go quicker in these conditions. Thorsten Pitts, the only G, still out there on a lap time. I don't know if he can improve on his current time. Uni Clark in the Mercedes, P11. So he's managed to get ahead of a few of the McGanns, but it's tough going in that car. It's a real challenge to compete with these Renault McGanns. They're perfect for the touring car division. Lions Foot pits. We've got Bobby Dazzler also in the pits, as is Evan. Lightblade, the shock of this qualifying session, down in P15. Our Welshman is really struggling here. Bobby is not having a good one. Obviously, maybe just took too long about getting a lap in, and as soon as the rain came down, that was it. That put paid to his chances of taking pole in this one. P15 for Lightblade. Let's see if he can go quicker and maybe get ahead of a couple of other guys, but it's looking very unlikely. The standing water really looks treacherous out there now, and I think this is going to be it for Lightblade. Coming through the corkscrew now. Lightblade was actually the highest point scorer in last season from the point where he joined the league. So if Lightblade had been with us for the whole of last season, he could have been a real protagonist for the championship. He could have pushed Damobi all the way. It's going to be fascinating to see if he can give our German reigning champion a real run for his money this time around. He's coming out in the final turn now, and let's see if it is an improvement, because he is 15 seconds off the pace initially, and it is an improvement, but it's not enough to move him off of P15. So Lightblade stays P15. We've got the Stealth Sheep lining up on pole with Grandad Stee alongside him. Lecky's still out there doing something, but I don't think it's going to be pole position for Lecky. He's just over a tenth of a second behind our pole sitter Stealth Sheep, but that was in full bone dry conditions, and in these conditions it's nearly impossible to improve your lap time from the dry. So it looks like that's it for him. The console still out there, but once again I think they're just getting a bit of practice in. These guys want to get some wet running in. They've had very little running in these conditions, especially in this part of the world. It very rarely rains, so it's not easy to get some practice in for this type of situation. The console just hoping to log some laps and log some times in at the moment, with likewise Thorsten Schmidt and the ODG still just getting a feel for these conditions and maybe figuring out whether they can run the dry tyres. You never know, these guys may try and stay on the dry tyres when it rains in the feature race. It depends when the rain comes. If it start off in full wet conditions, it's definitely going to be the wet tyres, but we'll have to wait and see what these guys do. It's going to be a strategic battle here at Laguna Seca for round 1 of Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship. If you haven't already, hit that sub, like and bell button, and be sure to visit us at www.robbinsracing.co.uk. Don't be shy to donate to us as well. We run a free service here. We're a team of volunteers. It looks like the ODG's brought it into the pits. Thorsten's still out there on a lap. I'm not sure if he's going to be, it looks like he's going to be coming in this lap. The timer is up, so these guys are just going to quickly finish their runs, and then that will be it, and we will go for the feature race here for round 1 of this season. Season 2 of 2020 here at Robbins Racing. We got 3 seasons under our belt, 2 seasons in 2019. We had 1 in the start of 2020. This is the second of 2020, so 4th season altogether here at Robbins Racing. It should be a fascinating one. We've got many different leagues. We've got the touring cars here, and then also at this track we've got the Clio Cup going on. That's behind closed doors, that's not broadcast, but good luck to all the guys in the Clio Cup, and obviously good luck to all the guys here as well. On Thursday night we've got the Thursday Night Lights series, which is running every week. It's a random car and random track. Then Friday we've got the GT5 Ginettas making a return. Kembo 76, our American commentator, will be in the booth for that one, and it's going to be absolutely fascinating. I'll be on the track for that one, I can't wait. It's going to be at Watkins Glen Short. And on Saturday night we've got the LMP2 Championship at Brno. That's behind closed doors, that's not broadcast to our YouTube channel. We've got the Sunday morning, we've got Formula Renaults, and Sunday evening the GT3 Championship returns for another season. Be sure to tune in for that, guys. Looks like we're about to go racing here for the feature race. That is our qualifying session done. Stealth Sheep starts on pole position. We've got Grandad Steve lining up alongside him, Lecky, Smithy, HJM and Nakatadu, Demobi, the console, and Thorsten and the Only G round out the top 10. So it looks like we have got wet conditions for this one, so this will be very interesting. Now it looks like it's going to be wet tyres for the start of this race. Anything other than the wet tyres, I'll be very surprised, to be honest with you. I can't see any other option at the beginning of this race, but you just never know. It's a question the question is whether or not it's going to dry out. It's 18 laps this race with a mandatory pit stop on our feature race, so if the truck dries out, the switch to slick tyres could be an unpredictable one. We've got a few comments here on our stream. So Big Dom says it's all good now. Yep, we're delighted to get the stream going nice and smoothly, Dom. Raids Fader says, hey everyone, welcome along, Raids Fader. RDJ says, big up Andy for the job he's doing. Thank you very much, RDJ, it's very kind of you. He also says he won in the first race, so he's hoping to win in the second race, the feature. So well done to RDJ for taking the W in the sprint race for the Clio Cup. Congratulations to him. Ken Smith says, back in action. I think the Angry Englishman Lecky will take it. Well, the Angry Englishman Lecky is currently in P3 at the moment, so it looks like he's looking good for it. Lecky is a 34-year-old from Manchester, and he's the lead coordinator here for Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship. It's all of this that you see in front of you is down to him. He's the one who puts it all together, and he's also a moderator on Robbins Racing's Discord as well. It should be a good one. He's qualified very high up in this particular race, so it's going to be interesting to see in the wet conditions whether these guys can hold it together. Looks like we're about to go racing here for the feature race for round 1 of Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship. Be sure to check out our Discord, www.robbinsracing.co.uk, and hit that sub, like and bell. Here we go. When the lights go out, we'll be underway, and it looks like we are gone there, and it looks like a good start there on the right from Grandad Steve, slightly better than Stealth Sheep. Stealth Sheep getting a little bit bogged down off the line. Grandad Steve's already up into the lead as they come down the hill. It's under the Mazda Raceway Bridge towards turn 1. You can see there Stealth Sheep going defensive on the inside, doesn't want to get passed by more drivers. You see Grandad Steve quite late on the brakes, and somebody's gone a little bit wide there on the right hand side. That's Smithy going round a few drivers there. He's lost out massively. Smithy going very wide onto the dirt. Stealth Sheep leads the way. He got the lead back off of Grandad Steve there. Looks like it went side by side going through turn 1. Stealth Sheep back into P1. HJM made a good start up into P3. We've got Demobi, Lecky, that Katardid, Smithy, the console, the Only G, Thorsten, Unit Clark, Lionsfoot, Bobby Daz, Lightblade, and Evan at the back. So Lightblade's made up a position already. Here we go. We're going 3 wide up towards turn 4. Who's going to bail out on this one? It looks like Grandad Steve in the middle is going to take the lead here, coming under the Mother's Bridge, and it looks like Demobi's going to try around the outside here of HJM, but HJM's on the inside there. They're going to go side by side here up towards turn 5. It looks like somebody's going to have to back out on this one. Who's going to do it? It looks like HJM on the inside holding it out, and Demobi in the end having to make way and takes a little bit of dirt on the right hand side for good measure. And Lecky's now going to go and try and make a move here on Demobi, going up towards Corkscrew. Can he make the move up the inside? Looks like he is going to go up the inside, but Demobi's not backing out on this one. It's still side by side. Lecky's going to have the inside for the next left hander, and it looks like he's got the move done. So good stuff there from Lecky. Grandad Steve still holding on, but HJM looking very feisty in the mirrors now. You can just see the spray there. Wouldn't want to be HJM trying to follow in that slipstream, but it looks like he's doing a good job for now. What's going on in the background here? We've got Lecky Well, still on the inside of Demobi, but Demobi's going to try around the outside very late on the brakes from our German reigning champion. Loses a position there to Stealth Sheep in the process. So Stealth Sheep up into P4, but it looks like Demobi's still on the outside here. They're going to go side by side here, coming down the pit straight up towards this sort of this left-hand kink. I wouldn't really call it a corner. Turn 1 is really the bottom of the hill. And as we can see, they're very late on the brakes there from Demobi. He's trying to stick it around the outside of Stealth Sheep, but Stealth Sheep's going to have a better line. But Demobi, what a move there from Demobi, showing why he is the champion of Robbins Racing's touring car division. He's gone round the outside there of Stealth Sheep, and the next up for him is going to be Lecky. So Stealth Sheep is now coming under pressure here from Nakatadu. In the meantime there, you can see Smithy and the Only G going at it in behind them. And what's going on at the back of the pack? Bobby Dazzler is in a train behind. In fact, Uniclark's got a train hit cars here behind him. Bobby Dazzler, Thorsten, Lightblade, Lionsfoot and Evan are all chasing him down. It looks like Uniclark's got his work cut out here in that Mercedes. In the wet conditions, it looks like it's even harder. And as we see, Bobby Dazzler having to go defensive here on Thorsten. Thorsten is going to be passed up the inside, or is he? It looks like he's got Lightblade having a look at him, but maybe not close enough to make a move at the moment. Brilliant stuff from these guys in the opening exchanges of this race. Hard Apple Pie says, hi there, welcome along Apple Pie. Good to have you with us on the stream. It looks like HJM's going to go up the inside here of Grandad Steve going into the corkscrew, but they're side by side still Grandad Steve trying to fight back on the right hand side. It looks like Grandad Steve just about holding it on the outside, but can HJM throw it up the inside? He can. Still side by side though. It looks like Grandad Steve a little bit wide, but he just about holds it on the outside. Fantastic racing from these guys, and in these conditions it's not easy at all to keep these cars in a straight line. The back end is always wanting to step out with these front wheel drive cars. Here we can see that Demobi is still holding on for third place, but Lecky's absolutely hassling him. And Lecky's gone into him a little bit of a bump there. That's lost positions. He's going to have Stealth Sheep looking at him now up the inside. Stealth Sheep and Lecky side by side down the pit straight. Demobi with a bit of breathing space, and Lecky's got a train of cars behind him. Stealth Sheep, Nakatadu, the ODG, Uniclark, and Bobby Dazzler all hassling him, coming down towards turn 1. Who's going to back out of this one? Lecky on the inside. He's got, by the looks of it, he's, oh, is that, oh, it looks like the console is trying to get involved in this action here. Stealth Sheep just about holding on, but the console is hassling the back here of Lecky in front of him. This is incredible. So many cars all trying to go through one corner. It's unbelievable stuff here. We've got a train of about 7 or 8 cars here battling over P4. Incredible. Looks like the console has made the move on Lecky up into P4, but console's got a penalty from the race factory. We see Grandad Steve almost getting off onto the dirt there, trying to get past Demobi. Demobi's made the move on him, and Grandad Steve's trying to fight back. You can see Grandad Steve, he must have been inches away from losing the car there. Holds on to the position just about. HJM has got a little bit of breathing space while these guys battle it out. He's got just under a second here of a gap here to Demobi. Demobi going a little bit wide there, coming through turn 5 up towards the corkscrew. And is Grandad Steve going to try and make a move here on Grandad Steve? It looks like Grandad Steve's going to try and make a move on Demobi. Looks like he's not quite close enough that time around. And the console is still got a train of cars behind him. Lecky, Stealth Sheep, the Only G, and the Only G's being passed on the inside. Fantastic move there, very very late on the brakes, but the ODG makes it stick. The Uniclark here is trying to hold off Bobby Dazzler. He's putting it in amongst it in that Mercedes, really doing a good job here. Bobby Dazzler hassling the back of him. In the meantime, we've got Nakatadu looking up the inside of Stealth Sheep, but he's not close enough. We see the ODG going very very wide there through the penultimate corner onto the dirt. Holds it together though. These guys side by side. Stealth Sheep up the inside there of Nakatadu, just about holding onto it. In the background, what's going on? Bobby Dazzler in the middle, in the wars there, trying to hold it through the middle of I think that's Nakatadu, is it? Nakatadu and Bobby Dazzler? Or was it Bobby Dazzler and Thorsten? It must be. Here we come down towards turn 1, 3 in a line. This is unbelievable racing, guys. If you want to get involved, go to www.robbingsracing.co.uk. We've got Nakatadu going a little bit wide. Looks like Bobby Dazzler's going to move up the inside. Thorsten has lost the position there, so Bobby Dazzler fighting back here in the foreground, and you can see there, it looks like Smithy's trying to make a move on the inside of Thorsten, but not close enough. So Thorsten in the end holding on to position, but still, it looks like Smithy's still right there. Is that... No, it looks like Uniclark. Uniclark's still holding on to the position, but Thorsten and Smithy looking very, very hungry behind him. In the meantime, Bobby Dazzler has been released into some clear air in front of him. He's now had a bit of a break of these guys, but they're still going at it here. But look at that, we see, is that, oh my goodness, Uniclark's gone very, very wide there, coming through turn 5. He's got way out of shape there. He's holding it though. But as you can see there, these 2 Argentina liveries been behind him, looking very, very hungry for that position. In the meantime, what's going on at the front? Demobi's made the move here for P1, but HGM's still fighting back at him. We can see here, Demobi goes a little bit wide. HGM's trying to poke it out the inside. He can't quite do so at the moment. What's happened here? It looks like Smithy and Lionsfoot have come together, coming under the Mazda Race Day bridge. It looks like Smithy and Lionsfoot both lost out in that little exchange there. That's not too good for those two, but in the meantime, Demobi, our race leader, has got HJM right behind him, our reigning champion. It's not having it all his own way tonight. HJM's really fighting him for this one. He's in the slipstream here, coming down towards turn 1 as we come down the hill. Is he going to try and do something late on the brakes and go for a move in these wet conditions? It's not easy to pull off the racing line going down the hill in these types of conditions at Laguna. It's nearly impossible, and we can see that HJM thinking better of that one and not making the move. It would have been a brave one. Hard Apple Pie says, have a good race. He loves Robin's racing, he says. Thank you very much, Hard Apple Pie. Good to have you with us. So in the meantime, Demobi looks like he's got a bit of breathing space. He's pulled out half a second of a gap here to HJM. I call that breathing space. With these touring cars, that is breathing space. But HJM's still there, still waiting to pounce at the moment. We've got the console. It looks like he's put a little bit of a gap here between himself and Grandad Steve. Then we've got Lecky running P5. Stealth Sheep trying to defend here from that guitar dude and the only G. Bobby Dazzler running behind them. Then we've got Lightblade, Smithy, Uni Clark, Lionsfoot and Evan coming around at the back of the field. So race leader currently our reigning champion Demobi, showing them how it's done in these wet conditions, but he's not had this one his own way. He's had to fight for this one. He's had to make a few excellent passes in this one. He's had to get past Grandad Steeder, Console and HJM in order to get up into this race leading position that he's got at the moment. This is an 18 lap race with a mandatory pit stop, guys. We don't know if the track's going to dry out. Looks like the rain has actually stopped, so we could potentially be met with a dry finish to this race, and if we are, then that's going to really spice things up and make it incredibly interesting once we get towards the end of the race. Who's going to make the change to dry tyres, or if they're going to make the change to dry tyres? Will anyone try and stay on the wets all the way to the end? It's just don't know. It's a fascinating strategic battle here, and you're watching it live on the Robbins Racing channel. If you want to get involved in Robbins Racing, then go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk and get yourselves involved in the action. Lecky looks like he's got a trade of cars in front of him. It looks like you've got Stealth Sheep all over the back of him now as he comes into turn 1. Lecky goes a little bit defensive on the left hand side, and someone's going very late on the brakes there. It looks like the only G just about gets it stopped, almost ran into the back of Stealth Sheep there. In fact, I think he might have given him a little kiss on the back, but it looks like it's all good. He's nothing doing at this stage at the moment, but Stealth Sheep there must have been a bit scared looking at the only G closing in on him in his mirrors there. The only G loses his 2 spots there to Lecky and Bobby Dazzler, so they're up a position. Not good stuff, but the only G I'm sure can fight back here in this one. Still got the car going, still got it pointing in the right direction, so you never know what will happen. Stealth Sheep here still just about holding on ahead of that guitar dude, but he's really hassling him. Grandad Steve's got a bit of a gap to them, and the console is now chasing down the leaders, so he's put some breathing space now between himself and Grandad Steve, and this is the console's chance with some clear air, and we know he loves this track as the console. He's won here a couple of seasons ago at Laguna Seca, so we know that this is he definitely shines around here. Currently running in P3, closing in on the Demobi and HJM, so we've got to keep an eye on him. He's one to watch. Is there's the console, our man from Norwich, doing an excellent job in this one. We got Stealth Sheep is still all over the back of Grandad Steed. The battle for P4, and in the background we've got Bobby Dazzler still waiting in the wings. Sorry, that guitar dude still waiting in the wings, waiting to get involved in this action. Bobby Dazzler in the background there. We've got Lecky going a little bit wide there, coming through the north. We've got Lecky's into the pits, so he's the first one to blink here in this one. The only G that Lightblade, Thorsten, Uni Clark, Smithy, Lionsfoot and Evan there. Just coming through the corkscrew. So we've got Moby still showing these guys how it's done. He's got just over a second now to HJM, so he's pulled out a slight gap on that last lap. Although having said that, he was only a fraction of a second faster than HJM, so really nothing to separate these guys at the moment. The console also matching these guys, so the front three all matching each other in lap times. Just 0.3 of a second separates all three of them on the last time around. The console's got a job to do though. He's got a few seconds to these guys, so track position in terms of, well, his track position really does go to Demobi at the moment and HJM. It just depends on whether the console's got the heart to take them into this race, and maybe his pit stop could really gain him some time in this one. Bobby Dazzler still running in P7. He's still got the only G hassling him all over the back of him here as he looks to the inside, but doesn't thinks better of the move this time around. Bobby Dazzler still holding on to P7. Lightblade's pulled away from these guys. He must have made some good moves there on these guys, because Lightblade's got some clear area in front of him. He's up into P6. Still Bobby Dazzler trying to fight off the only G, and somebody goes very wide in the background there. It looks like it might be Uni Clark. He looks like he might hold on here coming towards the corkscrew, but he's going to have Thorsten and Smithy in hot pursuit here into the corkscrew on the brakes. It looks like, oh, that's very late on the brakes there from Thorsten. Moves up the inside. Uni Clark, they're still side by side coming through the corkscrew. Looks like Uni Clark's going to have the position, and Smithy's going to get himself involved in the action. They were 3 wide for a moment there coming through the corkscrew. In the end, Smithy thinks better of going up the inside there of Uniclark, and it's as you were, Uniclark 9th, Smithy 10th and Thorsten 11th, but that was fantastic racing for a moment there. Good marshalling from those guys, avoiding each other and not tripping over each other. It's good to see these guys, some of the cleanest, fastest sim racers on the PlayStation 4 platform here in Project Cars 2. Uniclark's into the pits for his mandatory stop, so Lecky and Uniclark have both been in for their stops, guys. So that's how we are at the moment. Thank you very much, Charles Ray. So it looks like Moby has pulled out a gap there on that last lap. Not sure what happened to HJM last time around, but he's lost 3 seconds here at the front to the Moby. So it's not gone well on this previous lap here for HJM. He lost, in fact, yeah, about 2.5 seconds to the Moby. So our reigning champion's now got a little bit of breathing space here, and the track is drying out. But having said that, though, we've got a forecast. It says on our weather forecast at the top of the screen, rain is expected, and there it is. As I say, we see a little bit of a drop on the camera lens, and we have got rain. So all the guys who came in taking a gamble to change to the dry tyres will be ruining that decision now. I don't know if anybody did change to the dry tyres, but they will be absolutely hanging their heads in shame right now, because they are going to be losing out enormously in this. Still our race leader coming round in a comfortable lead at the moment. The only G and Thorsten looking very, very close on the track here, coming through turn 5. The only G for the moment's got the move, but he goes a little bit wide there, almost gets onto the dirt, just about holds it on the grey stuff for the time being. It was a close run thing though, as you can see here, the only G in the Monster Energy livery trying to fend off Thorsten Schmidt. The German driver here is absolutely hassling him, and as we see there, Smithy getting very loose on the corkscrew, holds it together, but we just saw in the background there in the distance, we were following the only G, and we could just see Smithy crawling across the dirt on the exit of that corner. He looks like he's keeping it going though for the time being. Our race leader's in the pits, so HJM and the console are going to take P1 and 2 for the time being. Our race leader has brought it in. It looks like he hasn't changed tyres, so he's staying on the wets, taking a gamble to go to the end of this race. We're about half distance here in the feature race for the opening round of Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship here at Laguna Seca this evening. Season 2 of 2020, guys. If you want to join Robbins Racing, all you need to do is go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk. as we see, looks like Lightblade and Bobby Dazzler coming round turn 1 now to take the position here off of Demobi. It's going to be close though. Is Bobby Dazzler going to try and go up the inside? Yes, he is. Bobby Dazzler still yet to pit, but he's taken a position there off of our net race leader here. So this could hold up Demobi no end. Sorry, I just had to cough. I felt rib. So we got HJM leading the race. He picks up the lead after our race leader Demobi had to come into the pits for his mandatory stop. This will be fascinating now, because if Demobi gets held up behind Bobby Dazzler and Lightblade, this could really play into the hands of HJM. Been fighting Demobi for the lead for some laps now. Dropped off of him a couple of laps ago. Must have made a mistake somewhere around the lap, because he dropped 3 seconds on the I think it was lap 7. But here he comes, coming towards the end of the lap line now, and the lap times are really going to drop off. You're going to see on the timing board these guys lapping around in what is dry Clio pace at the moment in these touring cars. As we see HJM really struggling, sliding through the final turn. He's going to come around to complete lap 9 of this race. The console's into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. That Qatardi looks like he's staying out. That Qatardi, we know these conditions and the types of conditions he loves. Changeable conditions is something that he always excels in. We saw in the opener last season at Alton Park, he absolutely shone in these types of races. Demobi is coming around to complete lap 9 in 4th position. Looks like he's cleared Bobby Dazzler now, so the Moby off position and now into some clear air. Now we can see if he can keep his position here ahead of HJM. It looks like he's going to. The gap 12 seconds at the front. We know that you don't lose much time in this pit lane due to the nature of it, but it's a long pit lane, but half of it's actually spent at racing speeds, because you get released out of the pit limiter very, very early, and then the rest of it's just following the track, so you don't lose too much time in this pit lane. Having said that though, 12 seconds, that does look a little bit like Demobi's going to clear him quite comfortably, but you just never know what's going to happen here. HJM still going around, still doing a fantastic job here. Was leading the race, is leading the race at the moment. He was leading earlier on ahead of Demobi. Demobi made the move, and then the latter came into the pits. So for the time being, HJM doing a fantastic job. That Qatardi coming around in 2nd place at the moment. Let's have a look and see if there's any guys close on the track. It looks like they're all pretty strung out at the moment. The closest guys that we've got are Lecky and Lightblade. Lightblade maybe closing that gap, but Lecky's doing a good job here in these wet conditions. Currently running 20 seconds off of Demobi's pace. Demobi, I'll remind you guys, is our net race leader here, so it's be interesting to see if he can get ahead of HJM once he comes in for his mandatory stop. Lap 10 of this race. Here he comes, race leader over the line. 8 laps left to go in this one. It's been an excellent feature race so far, and it's going to be it's going to be a pretty close race, I'm pretty sure, because HJM actually last time around was a little bit quicker than Damobi. Damobi's just coming over the line now. Let's keep an eye on the timing board and see what sort of laps he's doing. Well, actually, Damobi was almost a second quicker, but in terms of what I'm seeing on the lap deltas, it looked like that gap was coming down. But at the moment, Damobi looks like he's putting in the lap times and putting in the type of consistency that he needs to win this race here. Looks like Bobby Dazzler, Thorsten and Lyons are all coming in for their mandatory pit stops now, so it's all down to where they're going to come out in relation to these guys who have already come in. Stealth Sheep emerges over in 5th place. The console is only 6 seconds behind Damobi, but we've got about 6 or 7 laps left to go in this one, so if Alex can get some consistency going down in these wet conditions, he might have a chance of closing in on our race leader. It's going to be pretty close as well between HJM and the console, because once he comes in for his mandatory pit stop, they're going to be absolutely neck and neck. But guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for watching us live on the stream. If you're interested in joining us here at Robbins Racing, all you need to do is go to www.robbinsracing.co.uk and get yourselves involved in on-track action here that you see in front of you on our dedicated YouTube channel. It's well worth getting involved with. All free, everything currently going on Project Cars 2 PS4. If you've got those two things, then definitely go to our website and become a part of it. Looks like the consoles and Damobi have both picked up race director penalties, so that will bring a smile to HJM's face. That will give him a little bit of added motivation here as he comes round to start the lap 12 here of this race into turn 1. You can see the rain getting heavier and heavier. I would not want to be one of these guys out on track trying to negotiate these type of wet conditions. It must be absolutely treacherous for these guys. Hats off to all of them for dealing with the pressure that this type of situation brings. And at the moment, HJM is walking on water here out front, but it's all down to whether or not he can stay in front of Damobi or the console when he comes into the pits for his mandatory stop. Guys, if you're just joining us for the feature race, massive thank you for joining us. If you were with us for the sprint race, I do apologise for the issues that we had, technical issues that we had earlier on, but it looks like we've been all fine here for this feature race. Thank goodness for that. Unfortunately, technical issues do happen, and when they do, you can't really account for them. You just got to get on with it and do your best you can. Currently, we've got, let's have a look and see what's going on down the field. We've got Bobby Dazzler running 2 seconds off of Lightblade. Lightblade is only 2 seconds behind Lecky, so these guys, all three of them, running within 4 seconds of each other. This could definitely bunch up if one of these guys makes a mistake, or if these guys start to fight it out. Stealth Sheep also in the foreground there, you can see running in P5. Last time around, Lecky and Lightblade both 2 seconds quicker than Stealth Sheep, so Stealth Sheep must have made a mistake of some sort. We didn't see what, but definitely struggling in these wet conditions, so it could be a little bit of a battle here going on for 5th place in this race. Looks like Thorsten is into the pits once again, so disaster for Thorsten. Maybe his team didn't give him the right tyres, but he's coming in for an additional stop here. This has not gone to plan at all for Thorsten. Clark, Grandersty and Evan look like they've been in the wars a little bit in this one as well. Clark's first feature race in the Mercedes team, and it definitely might be ruining the decision to switch from the Megane to the Merc in this one. But currently we've got HJM still leading, still out front, and last time around, ladies and gentlemen, HJM a second and a half quicker than Damobi. So he's really laying down the gauntlet now with HJM. He's really flying in these conditions. Despite the rain getting heavier and heavier and the track getting slower, he is growing in confidence at the moment, and his gap out front is almost 13 seconds now. It looks like the console is maintaining the gap to him as well, so the console potentially closing in on Damobi. We saw last time console went a second faster than Damobi, and we've got just about 5-6 laps left to go in this one. In fact, I think 5.5 laps left. Looking at the time. As you see the console going very, very wide there. Console's gone off. Unbelievable. Console's in the wall. Incredible scenes. That's unbelievable. He's lost it going through turn 4. Can he get it going back again? It looks like he has. He's got the car going in the right direction again. Did his wheel come loose or something? I don't know what happened there. Maybe he hit a puddle, but he's gone. He's dropped loads and loads of time there. He's down 30 seconds off the pace. Stealth Sheep is going to pick up the position. The Stealth Sheep up into fourth. Lecky and Lightblade are now going to be looking at him as well. So that is the disaster for the console. Just as we were bigging him up and talking about his potential, the potential of him taking the race win in this one, he's dropped way back. Meanwhile, our race leader HJM is into the pits for his mandatory stop. That Guitardo is going to come around and inherit the race lead, but it is only a temporary race lead because he does still have to hit. So HJM is out of his box now. Where's Demobi? Demobi's coming to the pit straight on the pit straight now. And it looks like Demobi is going to take the race lead once again. Is Stealth Sheep going to come out ahead of HJM? It doesn't look like it. I think HJM is pretty much on for a podium here if he can keep this up. He's lost the lead to Demobi, but Demobi's now got a lot of clear air in front of him. He's still got that Guitardo in front of him, but bear in mind that Guitardo does have to pit still. So once that Guitardo's been in for his mandatory pit stop, he should fall in somewhere between HJM and Stealth Sheep. I think that Guitardo could be on for a podium in this one. If he can keep up the pace that he's had so far in this feature race, this could be an excellent result here for that Guitardo. So it looks like we've got Demobi 3 seconds behind him, but Demobi obviously has been in for his mandatory pit stop. So as far as it goes, I think the finishing order, or the net race order at the moment would be that Demobi, HJM and that Guitardo, with Stealth Sheep in the console 4th and 5th. The console, what happened there? We were following him and we saw as he came through turn 4, the car just sort of went from him underneath and he went straight on into the barriers. He's currently running a second behind Stealth Sheep at this stage in the race as they come under the bridge up towards the corner where it all went wrong for the console. He's still got something to fight for. We can still get some good points here, still running in P5, testament to the pace that he must have had earlier in the race. He's made that mistake, he's still sat in a decent points paying position, so it's not all over yet for him. He's coming under increasing pressure now from Lightblade. We've seen Lightblade closing that gap as the race is worn on. It looks like they've got some traffic in front of them now. That might be, is that Grandad Stee? It might be Grandad Stee. That they're just coming around to lap now. Oh no, that was Grandad Stee behind him, so Lecky has got Lightblade in front. No, hold on. So that's Lightblade behind Lecky, and that is some traffic in front of them. But I'm trying to figure out who that is. We'll have to get to that in a little while. So Lecky currently sat P6 in this one. Oh, it's order. And that's Lightblade losing the car. Lightblade almost losing it and going into the wall there, but just about holds it together. In fact, he did a brilliant job there of pretty much saving that one. Managed to sort of drift it back onto the track and lose not so much time there. He might have had a slowdown warning from the race director. Lightblade almost losing the car. Phenomenal car control there from our Welshman, Bobby, showing why he's one of our tutors here at Rubbings Racing's Driver Academy, which is coming very, very soon, by the way. It looks like he's lost a bit of time, but he's still going well at the moment, just a second behind Lecky. So just goes to show amazing control there from Bobby, keeping that together. Hats off to him. Lucky's still leading this train. He's got Lightblade, Bobby Dazzler, Smithy in the background there, trying to close in on these guys. Looks like Uni Clark's behind him, but Uni Clark is a lap down on Smithy, so we'll try and not let that distract us. In the meantime, our race leader, that Guitardo, still yet to pit in this one. He's coming through the corkscrew now. He's got 1.5 seconds. Guys, if you're just joining us, I will let you know that Demobi has already been into the pits, as has HGM and as has the console. So when we factor in those little points, that mean that Guitardo should come out maybe 3rd or 4th once he comes in for his stop. So Demobi should be on for the race win here. Our reigning champion, our Bavarian German driver here, is looks like he's on for the race win here in the opening round for the feature race here at Laguna Seca for Robbins Racing's Touring Car Championship. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us live on the YouTube stream. And if anyone knows who won the Clio Cup feature race, let us know in the comments if it's finished. I don't know if it's finished yet, but let us know so we can give it an announcement and big congratulations over the mic. In the meantime, we've got Demobi coming into turn 1 now. As you can see, the standing water's maybe dissipating a little bit now. The rain has sort of eased off, and in fact I think it's stopped altogether, so the track drying out. But in the top right corner we've got a forecast saying light rain. So but having said that, we've got 3 laps left to go, so it shouldn't pay too much of a difference now. In the meantime, let's see what's going on with the console. It looks like he's still got a 2-second gap here to Stealth Sheep at the moment, currently running in P4 the console. He's got back past Stealth Sheep after that blip that we saw a couple of laps ago from Alex. He's doing a good job. Damage limitation here in this one, and it looks like he's only 1 position down on where he would have been had that issue not happened. So it's been a good drive here since that little error. We've got that Demobi currently running 2 seconds off of the race leader, that Guitardo, but that Guitardo still yet to come in. Is he going to bring it in this time around? He's coming through the corkscrew now. He's got 2.5 laps left to go, so it either needs to be this time or the next for his pit stop, for the mandatory stop for this feature race. I imagine he'll stay on the wet tyres, because there's no point in losing 10 seconds when you've only got 2 laps left to go in the race. There's some traffic there coming through the final turn. Looks like he's going to stay out for one more tilt, so that guitar dude's going to have to come round this time. He's got some traffic there. That must be, who is that? That must be the only G, or maybe it's Evan. Actually, it must be Evan. So that guitar dude with a personal best that last time around, 2/10 quicker than he's gone all race so far, so good stuff there. He's still got to come into the pits. When he does, Demobi will assume the race lead and most likely take the race win, barring any kind of major catastrophes in the closing stages of this one. HJM is going round in P3. He's had a good race here, a great, fantastic debut from HJM in his first appearance here in Tier 1 of Rubbings Racing's Touring Car Championship. He's driving the Mild 7 livery that used to be that guitar dude's livery. He's taken this one over here for this season. Coming through turn 3 now, and you can see there the standing water's getting less and less as we see, so the track's getting faster and faster. We might even see some guys going for the extra bonus point on the final lap, for fastest lap, because the track's getting drier and drier and drier. So these guys, some of these guys who have lost a few points in this one, will be absolutely desperate to pick up that extra point. You get an extra point for pole position in either race, so sprint race, feature race, you get a pole position bonus point, and you also get 1 bonus point for fastest lap as well. It's not much in the grand scheme of things. You get 35 for a win, 30 for second, and 27 for third. I can work it all out, the rest of it, as another time. But it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not very much, but it can always help. And at the end of the day, if you need an extra point at the end of the season, it can really help your championship challenge if you get involved in a championship battle. In the meantime, it looks like that guitar dude is into the pits. So Demobi is just about to come round the final corner to start the last lap of this race here for round 1 of Rubbings Racing's Touring Car Championship. Thank you everybody for joining us live on the YouTube channel. If you want to join us, go to www.rubbingsracing.co.uk. Join the most authentic sim racing experience on the PlayStation 4 platform. Join any of our leagues: Touring Cars, Clios, GT5, the LMP2, Formula Renault or GT3. If any of those are your type of thing, then definitely head over and have a look at us. Demobi starting the final lap of this race now. We've got HJM is coming into turn 1 in 2nd position. That guitar dude emerges in 3rd place. Let's see where the console is. The console's coming over the line now, so he's not going to get a podium in this one. Looks like the guitar dude's going to complete that podium. The console and Stealth Sheep separated by not very much at all. In fact, just a second and a half between Alex and Jeff as we come into turn 1. It looks like they both got a 1 second penalty, so this is effectively for position, but I think the console should have enough of an advantage here coming into the last lap. He's just about got it in hand. The light blade's coming around in 6th. It looks like Lecky and Bobby Dazzler are going to fight to the flag for this one. Lecky's got a penalty, Bobby Dazzler hasn't, so Bobby Dazzler will know he can just sit behind Lecky for this last lap and pick up 7th place, but I'm sure the racer inside of him will want to go for this one, and Lecky's made a little mistake there, a little bit of a dip onto the dirt, and Bobby Dazzler's going to have the inside line as they go flat through this right-hander. It looks like Bobby Dazzler's back up into 7th place. Lecky, can he fight back here on this last lap? Lecky with the penalty knows he's got to get past him and pull out a gap if he wants to finish in front of him. Smithy just waiting in the wings behind. Oh no, that's not. That's a lapped car behind them. That's not Smithy. He's driving the same livery. That's Smithy's teammate. I think it must be Steve. So confusing me a little bit there. Or Thorsten. It's Thorsten, not Steve. I'm sorry, it's Thorsten Schmidt. There we go. So we got Lecky and Bobby Dazzler side by side. And Moby's going to take the race victory here in the feature race. Fantastic job. He's a dominant win in the end. He really pulled out the gap there. Demobi takes the feature. HJM is going to come over in 2nd position. That guitar dude completes the podium. Good stuff there from him. The console in the end threw it away a couple of laps from the end there with that mistake coming through turn 4. He's going to finish in 4th position. Stealth Sheep comes round to complete the top 5 here in this race. Lightblade out of the final corner now in 6th. We got Bobby Dazzler. Looks like he's going to hold on from Lecky here coming through the final turn. Can Lecky fight back? Lecky's now coming under pressure here from Smithy, but Smithy gets a poor exit out of the last turn. So Bobby Dazzler takes 7th. Lecky's going to hold on from 8th. Ahead of Smithy. Then we got Lionsfoot, who's going to complete the top 10. Just coming through the final sector now. The only G in 11th position. Thorsten, Clark, Evan, and Grandad Stee all a lap down. It looks like they're in auto control now. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you everyone for joining us on Rubbings Racing's YouTube channel. Congratulations to Demobi for taking the win here in the feature race. Our reigning champion, picking up where he left off and starting his title defence in the best possible way. HJM in 2nd position. That guitar dude completes the podium. The console, what could have been last season's 3rd position in the championship, finishing in 4th in this one. It could have been a podium here, but I'm sure he'll bounce back in the next one. Stealth Shoot finishes in 5th place. We got Light Blade, Bobby Dazda, then Lecky held on for 8th in the end ahead of Smithy. And Smithy and Light. Thank you everybody for joining us live on YouTube. Be sure to hit that sub, like and bell button, and join us on Thursday for Thursday Night Lights. And thank you very much again for joining us, and peace.